What are we doing with the Philadelphia Eagles? We all know coming off the Super Bowl run, just a complete domination. Crushed everyone. Green Bay, the Rams, the Commandos, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. All done. Get out of here. Saquon, 2,000 rushing yards. OPOY, big winner for you last year, something that you were super thrilled about. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. Vic Fangio, an outstanding defensive coordinator. We were all over that. We knew that was going to be the case. That's what Fangio does. No matter where he goes, no matter what year it is, he's going to have at least a top 10 defense. They were much better than top 10 a year ago. But we have a lot of changes in Philadelphia. They lose a lot of their depth pieces. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Bryce Huff, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers in that secondary. So the depth is gone, and then they lose the offensive coordinator. He gets a head coaching gig. They promote the passing game coordinator. How's that going to go? So a lot of different angles to look at, but in the end, even with Parsons going to Green Bay, Philadelphia is still your favorite in the NFC, and they're a co-favorite for the Super Bowl.
They are. I have a quote from John Murray, Westgate Superbook in Vegas. The league is set up for parity. It's very difficult to repeat, and the only teams who have done it this century had a first ballot Hall of Famer at head coach and quarterback. Don't think you have that here. Definitely not at head coach. So the only two to pull it off, to go back-to-back since the turn of the century, are Brady and Belichick, Mahomes and Reed. That's it. It's very difficult to get back and win it.
Mm-hmm.
Very difficult. And I think his point about parity is very valid, because you really don't have a lot separating the top teams. And a lot of these playoff games come down to the final play. I mean, think about Buffalo and Baltimore, how that game ended last year. Think about Buffalo and Kansas City. Think about Philadelphia and the LA Rams. If Matthew Stafford could get 20 more yards in the snow, we're not even having this conversation about Philadelphia. So you need to get several breaks down the stretch, and it's very difficult for a team to pull that off in back-to-back seasons. From a power rating standpoint, though, I have them number 3 in the league. We've talked about this. I've got Baltimore 1, Buffalo 2, Philly 3. I have not adjusted my numbers to see where Green Bay would be, but we can do that maybe over the weekend and run it back on Monday. Their win total is very high, 11.5. I don't find myself rushing to bet under that, though. This is a team that should do what it does in the regular season, and then you roll the dice on the postseason. But my big concern with anything Philly related is that these guys that have monster seasons, 400-plus touches, they fall off a cliff the next year. Ron Stewart's a great follow on X. Here's a list of the guys that had 400 touches that just fell off a cliff the next year. LaDainian Tomlinson in 06. Marshawn Lynch in 13. Tiki Barber in 05. Adrian Peterson in 2012. Sean Alexander in 05. Corey Dillon in 04. Edgerrin James in 05. Christian McCaffrey in 23. Larry Johnson in 06. All of these guys were unbelievable in those seasons that I just gave you. But their stats dropped off immensely the following season. We're talking about guys in like a 10%, 15%, 20% drop off. It's a lot of touches, man. It's a lot. And you would have to think that there's no way Saquon Barkley can come even close to what he did last season.
Did you include the playoff ones there?
No, those were just regular season touches.
Okay. If you include the playoff touches, 482. 482. Unbelievable. The last time we had that many, 2014. DeMarco Murray with the Dallas Cowboys. He had 497 touches. Okay. So in his terrific year, 2014, gets all these touches. DeMarco Murray has 1845 rushing yards. Following season, 702. It's in line exactly what you're talking about. I don't hesitate to go under Saquon for a second. We've talked about this much of the offseason, and I think it's a good move. Just quick look at a few books. I see a rushing yard range of 1375 to 1425. Rushing touchdowns is at 11.5. What? Saquon had 13 rushing touchdowns in his unbelievable season. Now it's 11.5. It didn't come down that much. I'm under on Saquon props for the season. You made the case. You willing to pull the trigger?
I could. I thought Shope made a good point yesterday. We had Mike Shope on from WGR. Actually, this may have been an off-air conversation. He said Barkley was tackled 11 times at the 1 last year and didn't get in for the touchdown on any of those drives.
Yeah.
Well, Hurts is a vulture. And then they do this thing where they bring Gainwell in around the 1. That happened a good amount last year. Not a lot, but a decent amount. So the core is mostly intact on offense. I don't know that the offense is going to take a step back. I mean, statistically with Barkley, those will regress. But the offense, weapon-wise, is mostly still intact. Your big loss on offense was losing Becton. So he leaves, goes to L.A. He's going to play for the Chargers. But on defense, you lose Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. Those are your pass rushers, along with Brandon Graham, who retired. So that's 3 pass rushers that Vic Fangio was able to send at any point.
Yep.
That's not ideal. And then you lost 2 corners, Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers. So you're looking for an answer at corner 2. You know Mitchell is your 1, and I think they're going to keep DeJean in the nickel. I don't think they have any interest in putting him outside. So they're looking for corner 2, and they're trying to replace 3 pass rushers. We shall see. Oh, by the way, they lost their offensive coordinator and their play caller and their designer, Kellen Moore. It's a lot to replace. It's a lot to replace.
Bryce Huff's gone too. It's a lot. Okay, so here's my thought on that. You lose your depth pieces. Will that come to fruition early in the season? Probably not. Right? As you work your way through, injuries start to pile up. That's when you start to be concerned. So if we look at the second half of the season, look, their bye is in the middle of the year. They get the Giants twice in that first half pre-bye. Other easy games, you got Dallas to start the season. By the way, we didn't even mention that with the Parsons move, and it ties in with the Eagles game. That is 7.5. There are still some 7s. Sam, I thought all the 7s would be gone by this morning. But they're not. You can lay $1.15 and still take the Eagles -7 for what that's worth. And I do look at that as an easy game. What did the total move to? So the totals, there are 47s out there. Man. Isn't this Eagles overplay?
I was thinking, is it dumb to take the Eagles in Survivor week 1?
No. You got a touchdown favorite. How many touchdown favorites do you have this week? One other one?
But I think a lot of people would say you got to save Philly. And maybe this depends on what league you're in. Maybe this is not a Circa Survivor move because you have so many people. But if you're in a Survivor league, like how many people did the Rich People League have last year? How many entries?
206, I think.
So this might be a spot where if you're in a smaller Survivor pool with 100 people or 200 people, you can take Philly. Maybe not in a Survivor League in Vegas with a $20 million pot because you have too many people to outlast. But I think in these smaller pools, you can take these teams early because a lot of these leagues are won by week 10 or week 12. Yep. So if you're saving the Eagles for December, odds are good you're not going to get to December. You won't even get to use Philly. So I might go Philly in the Rich People League now.